Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I wanted to do a comparison between the Hermes Twilly as well as Dior and Louis Vuitton's version of the Twilly scarf. So of course, Hermes calls their kind of long and narrow scarf the Twilly, and then Dior calls them the Mitzah scarf. And as for Louis Vuitton, their version is called the Bandeau. So a few years back when I was thinking about getting one of these scarves to wrap around the handle of one of my bags, I basically went straight to Hermes, bought myself a Twilly, and then I realized that I was not a big fan of it. So I thought I just didn't like this type of scarf, so I never bought any more. But then last year, I decided to get this Dior Mitzah scarf just because I really like the pattern, and I thought maybe I'll be able to make this work because the dimensions of the Mitzah scarf is a little bit different from the Twilly. So yeah, I decided I would give this a shot, and I actually really like this Mitzah scarf. So I kind of realized that they're not all the same, and I wanted to just do this comparison video for you guys. So if you're thinking about getting one of these scarves, maybe this could help you figure out which one is the best choice for you, or if you've tried out one of these before and you didn't really like it, sort of like me a few years back, maybe you might change your mind and try out one of these other ones after watching this video. And also I'll be showing you guys a few ways that I tie these scarves around my bags. So let's get into this video. So let's start with the Hermes Twilly. Now this scarf currently retails for $180 US, and when you're thinking of strictly the price of one of these scarves, then this is the cheapest compared to the Dior Mitzah as well as the Louis Vuitton Bandeau. But if you're going to factor in the amount of fabric that you get for the price, then the Hermes Twilly is actually the most expensive of the bunch, because this scarf is 2 inches by 32 inches, which is quite a bit narrower and significantly shorter than the other two scarves. So yeah, I don't think this is the best value for money compared to the other two, because it's a little bit limiting with what you can do with it. And as I've mentioned, I'm not a big fan of this. The good thing about this scarf is because it is on the narrow side, it's great to wrap around the handle of your bag if you're strictly just trying to protect the handle and you're not trying to do anything fancy like tying bows or flowers or anything of that sort. Then because this is narrower, it ties around the handle really nicely without there being any bulkiness and that type of thing. But yeah, if you wanted to tie a bow at the end of the handle, then you don't really have enough fabric to be able to wrap this all around the handle of your bag and add a bow. So yeah, I thought that it was a little bit limiting because I realized that I didn't really care that much about protecting the leather of the top handle of my bags. I mostly like one of these scarves on my bags to kind of add a little bit of element and spice to it, and I found that I wasn't quite able to do it with this scarf much. And also because it is shorter, I found that even when I went to tie this around my hair, for example around my ponytail, my hair had to be quite short for me to like how that looked, because when I tied this around my ponytail, of course I had to hide the hair tie. And if my hair is any longer than approximately shoulder length, which my hair is usually longer than that, I found that this would end up higher than where the end of my hair was. So it just looked a little bit strange. And the only other way that I used this, other than to tie it around the handle of one of my bags, was to tie it as sort of like a headband. So that was only 2 ways that I was using the scarf. So yeah, I just never found myself reaching for it. But I will say though that Hermes does do a lot of different colors for their Twillies. So it kind of goes in line with all the beautiful colors that they do for their bags. So if you really wanted a pop of color and you weren't able to find that color at another luxury brand, then you probably, I want to say, you probably will be able to find that colorway at Hermes. So yeah, there are some pros to it, but it's more expensive for less fabric. So not one of my favorites, but it's not all bad. Next, let's talk about the Louis Vuitton Bandeau scarf, which is 3.1 inches by 47.2 inches and at a price of $210 US. This is the most worth it of the bunch in this video when you're thinking about how much fabric you're getting for the price that you pay. The only thing though is I kind of feel like the silk on the Bandeau scarf is a little bit of a step down from the Twilly and Mitzah. This fabric is a little bit thicker and a little bit stiffer and rougher than the Twilly and Mitzah scarf, so it doesn't feel quite as silky and as luxurious, but it's not that the quality of this is awful. That's not the case at all. So for this scarf, because it is quite wide, I don't actually like this wrapped around the handle of my bags because there's just too much fabric to wrap around without bulk. Even if you were to fold this in half, because it is such a kind of thick fabric, it just doesn't wrap nicely. But the thing is, because this is so wide, I think it looks really pretty when you tie this into any sort of a bow, because you do get this big statement bow with it. So that's how I mostly use this scarf, either tied around my bag in some type of bow form, or I would stick a clip through it and just put it in my hair, and that also looks really, really nice. And the thing that I also really like about these Louis Vuitton bandeaus is I feel like the majority of them do have a very contrasting pattern on the two sides of the scarf. So you can do quite a bit with the scarf, and because the price is very good for the amount of fabric that you get, it's kind of two scarves in one on top of that, which just makes it even more worth it. And lastly, we have the Dior Mitzah scarf, which is 2.4 inches wide and 41.3 inches long. And this scarf costs $250 US, which is the most expensive of the bunch. And yeah, in the general realm of luxury items, the price of this is still not that high, but especially when you compare it to the prices of the Twilly and the Bandeau, especially in terms of the percentage difference, then this is quite a bit more expensive than the other two. But I do think that the scarf is a great all-around scarf for this type of size because it combines the pros of both the Twilly as well as the Bandeau, because this scarf is narrow enough that it ties around the handle around your bag really nicely and it doesn't really add that much bulk. And it's also wide enough that I think it also ties really nice bows. And I think that Dior does these floral print Mitzah scarves really well. So this one that I have, I don't think is available anymore. At least it's no longer available on the US website. Maybe you can find it in the boutique still, but they do have two other floral print scarves. One is the Mille Fleur and the other one is this hibiscus design. And I think when you tie it, it will give a very similar look to this one. So yeah, I definitely think that you should check those out if you're interested in one of these Mitzah scarves. The only thing though is I kind of feel like Dior was not very creative when it came to the backs of these scarves, because most of them either say Christian Dior along the middle of the back or it just says Christian Dior all along the scarf. And yeah, I just don't think those look really nice, and I wouldn't really tie it with the back of the scarf showing. This one that I have is a little bit of an exception because it does have this really pretty pink color in the center and then these two black borders. So what I do usually if I'm using the back is I kind of fold it a little bit and then I tie it around the handle of one of my bags in the kind of stripe pattern. And I will show you guys how I tie it in that stripe pattern because a few of you guys have asked me, but yeah, I kind of feel like they could have put a little bit more effort into the back of these scarves. Another thing that Dior does really well is they have this collection of scarves for every single letter of the alphabet. So you can get one that matches your initial. Yeah, that is kind of an aspect that they were creative in. I just wish they would have applied that creativity to the backs of these scarves. So that is it for this video comparing the Hermes Twilly, the Dior Mitzah scarf, as well as the Louis Vuitton Bandeau. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. I hope you guys like some of the ways that I showed you guys to tie these scarves around your bags. And if you own any of these scarves, let me know what you think of them. If you have multiples, let me know which one is your favorite, or if you think all of them are kind of equal, there's not much of a difference between these scarves. And let me know, what is your favorite way to tie these scarves? Do you usually use them on your bags, or do you like to tie it as sort of like a scarf around your neck or in your hair or something like that? And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do consider subscribing for new videos every single week, and I'll leave 2 videos on the screen for you to watch next. So I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.